Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the second part of our little series that we're talking about of who are you listening to? Yesterday, we learned that there is an evil voice that tempts us to worry. You can call that voice whoever or whatever you want. I like to call it accuser man. The accuser man first tempted Adam and Eve. They had nothing to worry about until he tempted them to worry that God was holding out on them. Then they did what God, for their own benefit, warned them not to do, and then accuser man accused them and tempted them to worry about God, tempting them to worry and believe the lie that God no longer loved them, was out to get them, and was going to punish them. Accuser man, the voice, accused them, and he's been doing it with people ever since. Revelation 12:10. John the Revelator says this: Then I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, Now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ have come, for the accuser of our brethren has been thrown down. He who accuses them before our God day and night has been thrown down. Now I want to go to 2 Corinthians 2:10-11. This is the Amplified Version. Paul says this: What I have forgiven has been for your sake, in the presence of and with the approval of Christ, to keep Satan from taking advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his schemes and devices. Now let's look at that same passage, 2 Corinthians 2:10 and 11, in the Mirror Version. Paul says, I am joined to you. Geographic distance does not separate us. Your forgiveness is my forgiveness. The favor reflected in the face of Christ is our only valid reference to true forgiveness anyway. The agenda of any accusation, he says, is to divide and dominate. We're not ignorant about that. And then he tells us that the word Satanus, or accuser, means accuser, and this other word, nous in Greek, that's translated dominate, means to mind or strategy or agenda or schemes. It refers to those things. So we have an enemy who accuses us and tries to dominate our mind. Here's what Jesus said about the deceiver in John 10:10. He said, the thief, the accuser man, the voice, the deceiver, comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. Then Jesus contrasted himself, the word of God, as opposed to the word of the accuser man, the voice of evil, and said, but I've come so that you may have abundant life and life to the full. See, two people can be in the same place at the same time, see the same thing, but depending on which voice you listen to, some people see opportunities and others see catastrophes. We can listen to Jesus, who lives in us, and experience abundant life. Or we can listen to accuser man, who lives in the world but talks to our mind, and go down the tubes. Now, this is not just a theology lesson. This hits right at the heart of where most of us live. Almost everyone that I know and I've been involved in spiritual things have told me over the years how they really worry about some things from time to time. Some people worry all the time. You worry and I worry. And it hurts us in a lot of ways. It can even hurt us physically. To hear Jesus, you got to switch frequencies and tune in to FM. I think of FM as Father's message, as opposed to AM, accuser man. Now, I know that most of you hear God's voice most of the time. Supernaturally, everyone can hear Father's message, FM. You just have to have your mind tuned to the right frequency. And we can also hear another voice without even tuning. And most of the time, we think it's our own voice, but it's not. That voice has a name. Don Keathley, the president and founder of Global Grace Seminary, raised an interesting question a week ago in one of his great teachings. I encourage you to listen to him. You can go to Grace Point Community Church, Houston, Texas, and hear all his messages. A great teacher. And about a week ago, he was teaching on this subject, gave me the ideas for this little series. And he said, what if Mammon, Mammon, was the voice that Adam and Eve heard in the garden and that we still hear? Well, we're going to look into that some more tomorrow. Hope you'll join me. Thanks, everybody.